And that's what happens when you're not watching the time on the video. So I'm not exactly sure where it cut off. I think it cut off around here. But again, you don't need to do the abstract on your papers. And again, the sample paper on Purdue OWL shows you a really good visual of what your final paper should look like. You can see that the heading starting on the second page is different from the heading that is on the first page. So you need to figure out how to do that in your word processing program. Again, you can see what's all caps, what's not all caps. And then you can also see that your title from the title page also starts off the text of your paper. And this sample paper walks you through what your headings should look like. It walks you through how to do your in-text citations, and at the very end, it shows you what a reference page looks like. So although Purdue OWL has a lot of great information, it does not replace the APA manual. But again, I really like it for the sample paper. I think it's a wonderful visual for you to look at so that you can get an idea of what your paper should look like. So let's go back to your resources section. So that's what this is, the Purdue OWL. Then there's just some links in the organizations folder for those major organizations in our field: Council for Exceptional Children, Division for Early Childhood, National Association for the Education of Young Children. Really good resources. You'll use them over and over again in your profession and in your courses. We're going to be talking about IFSPs and IEPs. An IFSP is an individual family service plan, and the IEP is an individualized education program. IFSPs are used for our birth to 3 population. IEPs are used for 3-year-olds through 21-year-olds or to 21-year-olds. So here's the VDOE IEP. Here's some resources for how to write an IEP, and then here is an IFSP. So you've got some links there for additional resources. When you're talking about professional ethics, again, these are linked back in the module. They're linked on the syllabus, and then they're linked here under resources. So you can find these ethics and standards of practice in various places in this course. So you want to make sure you see that. And then just for some information on early development, here's a couple of links that you can use when you're trying to look at what does typical development look like. If you ever take a face-to-face class with me, I will say over and over and over again, ground everything you do in typical child development. For those of us that work in the field of early childhood special education, this is really important because we don't see typical development. So we tend to forget, what does a typical 3-year-old do? Or what are those milestones? Because our kiddos are so delayed. So whenever you're thinking about what's going on in your classroom or when working with young children with disabilities, make sure you have a very in-depth understanding of typical child development. So here are some resources to help you do that. So that is our resources section. If I find some other resources, I'll add them here, and I'll let you know through an announcement and email that I've added a different section of resources, or if somebody sends me something or something's published that looks really good, I'll go ahead and link it here. So those are the main sections that you're going to be using. In the tools section, I have set up groups. I need to change those because some of the students have changed. I think one person dropped, a couple people have added, so I will change those and add the new people in. But you can find your groups, and you can use this space to communicate if you need to have, when you're working on those accessing resources or when you're working on your IEP, you can exchange files, you can have a discussion board, you can use Collaborate, not my favorite, but you can use Collaborate if you want to. This is a place where you can meet. I wanted to make sure it was set up on Blackboard, so if you want to use it, you can. I understand that there are many other ways for you to communicate with each other. That's fine. You can use your Mason email. You can text. If you want to give out your phone number to your team members, you can text. You can FaceTime. You can set up a Zoom or a WebEx meeting. Whatever works for you. Set up a Google Doc. It's very difficult to do the IEP in a Google Doc, but whatever you want to do, what works for your group, use that. You can meet in person, but I just wanted to make sure that there was access on Blackboard because those tools are available. So again, whatever works for you, just know that your groups are here, and right after this video, I'll make sure that these links are updated with the correct students. So I think that's it as far as Blackboard. Again, very excited to have you in class. If you have specific questions that are relevant for you, send me an email. Otherwise, use discussion board, and I will see you online later.